Oh, right, okay, we're good.
Yeah.
We're rolling.
So Phil, when did you know that something was wrong?
As you imagine, I found a lump
Yeah.
behind my left nipple. The one thing I did do, my first appointment, I actually told my partner at the time. I said, "Oh, I've just got a sore back. I'm going to go get it checked out." So I actually kind of like lied that I didn't tell her about finding the lump. So I went to the women's unit.
Yeah.
Obviously, on the letter it said the breast unit, because I was like, "What's the breast?"
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
that's where the equipment will be. And then when I turned up, it said women's unit on the wall. I was like, okay, just go with it. It'll be fine. Don't overthink it. So once it was confirmed to be breast cancer, they told me I was going to have a mastectomy.
I first suspected. I didn't know. I was just thinking, what is that? When I found a lump on the side of my right breast. But it was around the time that I had given birth to my second born. And I remember expressing that concern to a midwife that came for a home visit. And she said, oh, it's probably just a dried up milk duct. I trusted that because that is the professional, you know.
Absolutely.
So
Because obviously I was just like, I need to get this looked at and checked
Yeah.
out. But if a professional had said to me,
Exactly.
it's okay, I probably just would have
You wouldn't have.
accepted it.
Yeah, no, and I definitely accepted it until I found the second lump, and I was like, absolutely not. And then 2 to 3 weeks later, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and it had spread, so it was grade 3 because it spread to my lymph nodes.
How did you feel when you were diagnosed?
I felt numb. I don't remember feeling anything, but what I do know is that I thought I was going to die. I went into end of life nesting mode, is what I would think.
Wow.
And I remember speaking to my husband and just thinking I need to order like tons of hard drives to like put our memories on there. It was just preparing to be remembered by my children for when I leave.
Yeah. As a black woman, what was the hardest part
Yeah.
of your diagnosis?
The lack of representation. I remember receiving the leaflets and taking it home, and there was just no representation. There was no black woman in there. There was no pregnant woman in there. And there were no young women in there. And I just felt alone.
Yeah.
And that made me question why me? Because it felt like it doesn't happen to people like me, so I've done something wrong.
Do you think there's a reason why there's not much
Absolutely.
representation?
Absolutely. There are so many different barriers. Culture barriers, religion plays a part into it, shame. It's hard to have those discussions without it ending in death. So it's like if I say it, it makes it real.
So do we need more role models of people surviving, thriving in the black community?
Absolutely. Hence why I've always just been such an open book about my journey.
You know, the reality of it is there are minority groups that are getting no visible kind of instances of this happening to them.
Yeah.
And that's killing people.
As a man with breast cancer, how did you navigate that journey?
Breast cancer is seen as a female cancer, and it isn't. It can affect anybody. You know, whether men sharing their story or contacting another survivor, it might be seen as kind of like they're not as masculine anymore. It was quite early on. I just kind of thought, well, hold on a minute. Men might not want to talk about it. Women don't want to talk about it. So that probably needs to change.
Yeah.
Plus, like, 99% of people, bar the odd one or two, are super supportive. Once you tell them, don't get me wrong, there's some like weird comments, the oddest of comments about, I've got cancer. Oh, I know someone who died of cancer. I'm like, why would you share that? That's just crazy. Like, why would that be the first thing out of your mind?
Yeah.
Did you feel supported?
I was supported by friends and family, and they were there for me in the moment, but then there was a time it was hard to accept their support. I felt like I was holding back information because I was considering theirs.
Even though you're the person dealing with it, it was almost you had to support the people who was on the end of that information.
Yeah.
It was weird. That is definitely a thing when you're telling people about a cancer diagnosis or any life changing diagnosis. That seems to be a thing. I don't know why.
That's when I went online and I went public with my story. And when I did that, it was like a box had opened up, but it was like a box of hope, because I came across women that were diagnosed exactly like I was, stage 1, grade 3, and they were a year cancer free, 5 years, 7, 10, 8.
Yeah.
And it just made me think, so I can get through this. Did you feel supported?
See, weirdly, that from my point of view, I didn't really engage with the community
For a while.
for like 4 years. I didn't know whether I should be sharing my
Journey.
and whether it was relevant because I couldn't see anyone else doing it.
Yeah.
But I was just like, should I even be here? And then like, don't even mention, because obviously you had more aggressive treatment. I didn't, thankfully.
Okay.
But then I was like, is my story even worth telling? Because it was so short. Like, and...
Is it valid? It's probably...
and these are all things that were going through my mind. And, you know, even to today, you know, am I like, should there be a stage 4 patient sat here? Do you know what I mean? No, but this is the thing. How did you tell your friends and family, and what was their reaction?
Telling my mum was very hard. Very, very hard. I remember she kept saying, don't say that. Like, she was literally crying her eyes out over the phone and kept saying, don't say that. And I was really sad because that was my reality in that moment. And I was worried that she wouldn't accept it, which would make things even harder for me. And I think in that moment, I just wanted comfort. But I felt like it was the other way around. I had to comfort her.
Yeah.
How did you tell your friends and family, and what were their reactions?
I got messages saying, oh, you know, I hope you're okay, blah, blah, if you need anything. And then I got a lot of like weird bloke phone calls. You're okay? Yeah, can I come round, pop in and see you? I was like, yeah, whatever. I was like, I'm fine. Yeah, you wanna? You can. Yeah, it was hard telling my mum. Sadly, 10 years earlier, my dad had died from skin cancer. Yeah, I don't think my mum took it incredibly well. Okay, what do you wish you knew when you were first diagnosed from what you know today?
I always thought that breast cancer in particular is something that happened when you were over 50. So
how old were you when you were diagnosed?
I was diagnosed at 26.
Oh my God.
So
Wow.
I just wish I knew that it is possible at such of a young age, and it's definitely possible in and around pregnancy.
Yeah.
I think those are two things that it could have saved a lot of the trauma that came with diagnosis.
The good thing about having a cancer diagnosis is you are never the same from that point onwards, and generally people go on and do
For the better.
they do go like they go on and live more fulfilling lives. And with death, I hate to obviously talk about death, but with death kind of like so visible, it changes your perspective on life.
Yeah.
And hopefully for the better. It's definitely changed mine.
It feels very strange almost, because it's like a year ago, never in a million years did I think that life would look like this. This kind of feels like it's a win for me. And it feels so good to like go through something, that literally go through it, and it better myself.